What if I told you that every time you speak, you're casting a spell, that the words you whisper to yourself late at night, or the ones you shout in moments of passion, ripple out like invisible waves shaping the very reality you live in? You might think magic is a relic of ancient myths, cloaks, potions, wands. But what if real magic is already flowing through you, every time you open your mouth? To truly understand magic, we must step beyond fairy tales and into the realm of vibration, where sound becomes frequency and frequency becomes energy. It's in this subtle yet powerful domain that magic lives. Here, words aren't just sounds. They're tools of transformation, vessels of power, and sometimes the very architecture of destiny itself. This is the foundation of real magic, understanding that your words carry weight, resonance, and the potential to direct energy, much like spells. This isn't metaphor or fantasy. It's a reality often hidden in plain sight when we've been conditioned to overlook. But once you begin to sense it, to truly feel it, the world starts to look very different. So why don't most people notice this? Because true magic doesn't shout, it whispers. Behind the curtain of everyday life, there exist individuals who've mastered this art. Often called dark magicians, they understand the mechanics of language, frequency, and manipulation, not to uplift, but to control. They've learned how to bend perception, shape behavior, and engineer outcomes, all through the subtle power of vibrational influence. And yet the same tools can be used for good, to heal, to awaken, to evolve. At its essence, magic is neutral. It's the primal force of energy waiting to be directed. Whoever controls the energy controls the narrative. And whoever understands the narrative shapes reality. This is not fantasy. It's the unseen layer beneath the visible world, woven into politics, media, marketing, even casual conversation. The very fabric of our experience is being constantly written and rewritten by the frequency of words. So let's go deeper. Where did this magic come from? The word itself has ancient roots, from the old French magi to the Latin magicus to the Greek magikos. These terms weren't invented to describe illusion or trickery. They were used to speak of the sacred science of influencing reality, of working with hidden natural forces to create marvels not by luck or chance, but through conscious intent. These hidden forces were believed to be closely tied to magnetic and electric energies, the very currents that run through the earth, through the cosmos, and through you. Ever noticed how the word magnetic carries the echo of magic? That's not a coincidence. It's a linguistic breadcrumb left behind by ancient wisdom, hinting at a truth we've long forgotten. Central to magical practice are sacred words in geometries carefully selected for their resonance. These aren't just poetic choices, they are energetic keys. When spoken aloud with intention, they create ripples in the energetic field. They vibrate in harmony with unseen patterns, unlocking doors that logic alone cannot open. Every time you speak, you engage with these patterns, knowingly or not. Words have structure, they have shape, they have sound, and every sound carries a specific frequency. That frequency moves energy. It's as if your voice were a conductor's wand, drawing invisible forces into formation. Think about that for a moment. The words you speak are not just for communication, they are instructions to the universe. And few words are more potent than I am. Those two syllables, their creation in motion. I am is the most direct way to declare your identity, not just to the world, but to the field of energy surrounding you. When you say I am confident, or I am broken, or I am loved, you are literally authoring your state of being. The universe listens not with ears, but with vibration. That's why mastering the power of words is not just a mental exercise. It's a spiritual discipline. Let's return to the essence of sound. Every syllable you utter resonates with a frequency that can shift your consciousness. It can elevate you or entrap you. Certain phonemes carry within them the ability to awaken, to heal, or to wound. Words can become cages or keys. Within the labyrinth of language, some words have been encoded intentionally or intuitively with high-frequency patterns. Ancient chants, sacred names, mantras, and affirmations. They're not arbitrary. They're crafted. These are vibrational tools that have been passed down through the ages, often protected by initiates who understood their significance. And when these sacred sounds are spoken with clarity, emotion, and intent, the results can be profound. You don't just think differently, you feel differently, you vibrate differently, You align with a new frequency, and reality begins to rearrange itself accordingly. Ancient wisdom traditions have always known this. Across continents and centuries, mystics and sages have revered the spoken word. As Hermes Trismegistus once said, as above, so below, as within, so without. This isn't just poetic, it's a formula, a map of manifestation. The words we use externally reflect the inner architecture of our thoughts and beliefs. And when those words are chosen with intention, they become portals, gateways between spirit and matter. Sacred texts around the world, from the Vedas to the Gnostic Gospels, describe words as divine instruments, vehicles through which higher consciousness flows. They invoke light, wisdom, healing, even miracles. But with that power comes responsibility. Because just as words can elevate your vibration, they can also lower it. They can deceive, divide, confuse. We see this every day in advertising, politics, and social media, where language is twisted into tools of manipulation. That's why developing discernment is essential. You must learn to hear the tone behind the words, to sense the frequency beneath the phrase. Not everything that sounds good is good for you. Navigating the world of words is like walking through a dense forest. It's beautiful but filled with hidden traps. Only through mindfulness, awareness, and intention can you walk the path of magic without falling prey to illusion. Now let's peel back another layer. Have you ever wondered why we call it spelling? Because every time you spell a word, you're literally casting a spell. Think about that. The act of spelling is not just about letters and grammar. It's about arranging symbols that carry energetic weight. Imagine you're a young apprentice dusting off an ancient grimoire in a candlelit room. With every word you trace, you awaken forgotten power. Each letter carries meaning. Each syllable holds energy. And with every sentence, you shape reality itself, word by word, thought by thought. Within the very structure of language is a code, a matrix of vibration and intent. And when you speak that code aloud, especially with emotion and belief, it activates something. It sends signals out into the field, into the collective, into the unseen. Mastery over this hidden language is what gave rise to the great mystics, sages, and spiritual teachers. They weren't just wise, they were precise. They understood how to use sound and symbol to shift reality. Now imagine a wise sage sitting under the stars after decades of contemplation. He gazes at the night sky and suddenly sees the alphabet not just as letters, but as living frequencies. He realizes each letter, each sound is a building block of creation. And with that realization, he begins to shape history not through force, but through resonance. But here's the warning. With great power comes great responsibility. Words can create, but they can also destroy. Language can liberate, but it can also enslave. That's why conscious speech isn't just a good idea, it's a spiritual necessity. You must wield words with care, with clarity, with heart. Because once you understand their power, you can no longer speak mindlessly. So the next time you speak to yourself, to a friend, or even into the void, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what spell am I casting? Because whether you know it or not, every word is a wand, and what you say shapes what is. Let's continue and discover how emotion gives these words their wings. If words are wands, then intention is the hand that guides the magic. In the last part of our journey, we discovered how every sound we speak holds a vibration, a hidden current of creation. But what happens when that magic is misused? When words are twisted and spells are cast with shadowy intent? Imagine for a moment a misguided sorcerer, someone so intoxicated by his thirst for power and control that he unleashes a storm of spells upon the world. He chants not with reverence, but with ambition. Blind to the ripple effects of his actions, he stirs the very fabric of reality, causing chaos, confusion, and suffering. In his wake, innocent souls become entangled, caught in his web of manipulation. They don't realize they're under a spell. His words seem clever, even noble. But behind the surface lies something darker, the will to dominate. This parable is more than a tale, it's a warning. It reminds us that with every word we utter, we shape not just our own lives, but the lives of others. And when that power is used without humility, it becomes dangerous. The true path of magic requires something deeper than knowledge. It requires wisdom. It demands humility. It asks us to approach language not as a tool of domination, but as a sacred art. Each phrase we speak, each intention we hold, has the power to uplift or unravel. Now here you are standing at the edge of a great threshold. You've entered the crucible of linguistic alchemy, where words don't just describe the world, they forge it. And the deeper you go, the more you sense the subtle forces at work around you. As you begin to unlock the secrets of reality through language, one ancient phrase whispers through time: know thyself. Socrates believed that by truly understanding ourselves, we could come to know the universe. That is the heart of this path. When you spell with intention and clarity, you are not just crafting sentences, you're sculpting your reality. And so your journey continues. You begin to see that every word spoken aloud or held silently in thought carries the power to shift perception and shape action. Language is not passive. It is alive, active, and always in motion. But within this current of creation lies a hidden threat. Not all magic is used for awakening. Some of it is used to deceive. There is a force that moves in silence, hidden in symbols and speech. It slips into conversations, into advertising, into the stories we consume. Its goal is not truth, but control. This is the work of the dark magician. Not a man in a cloak, but a force, an archetype that seeks to override your will with illusion. You may not see the spell, but you can feel it. It clouds your thinking, it stirs confusion. It whispers doubts that aren't yours. To walk the path of true magic, you must learn not only to cast spells, but to protect yourself from them. In ancient spiritual teachings, this protection is considered essential. The wise knew that energy like fire can both warm and burn. Lao Tzu once said, "Those who know do not speak. Those who speak do not know." A paradox, yes, but a powerful reminder that real wisdom is often quiet, that the loudest voices may not carry truth, only noise. So how do you defend yourself? Through awareness, through intuition, by learning to listen beyond the words, to feel the energy behind the message. Just as a seasoned traveler can sense when a path is unsafe, you too must learn to sense when a word carries hidden weight, when it seeks to bend your mind instead of enlighten it. Protection begins with presence, but it doesn't end there. To truly guard against magical manipulation, you must understand the mechanisms behind it. Think of a master illusionist. With a flick of the wrist and clever misdirection, he draws your eyes one way while the real trick happens elsewhere. Spells work the same way, not through brute force, but through clever redirection. They dazzle your senses while hiding the truth. To break the spell, you must look deeper. Peel back the layers. Ask the questions no one is asking. What is really being said? Who benefits from this message? What emotion is being stirred and why? Because beneath every illusion lies a seed of truth. And once that seed is found, the spell loses its grip. The real magic then is not just in casting, but in seeing clearly. That clarity comes when you reclaim your sovereignty, when you realize that your mind, your thoughts, your perception are your sacred domain. No one has the right to rule them unless you give permission. And once you remember the divine light within you, the spells lose their power. You are not a pawn, you are a creator. By standing firm in your truth and developing inner strength, you become unshakable. The voices that once swayed you begin to lose their charm. The illusions that once captivated you start to fade. You walk with discernment, with peace, with power, and now something begins to awaken. Having traveled through the depths of linguistic enchantment, having fortified your mind against the whispers of shadow, you now arrive at a place of self-empowerment. You feel it, don't you? That quiet fire inside, that's your power remembering itself. True empowerment is born not just of language, but of knowledge. As you dive deeper into the esoteric teachings handed down through the ages, you begin to sense a deeper connection, the link between consciousness and communication. Words don't just express thought, they guide it, mold it, evolve it. This is no longer just about speaking, it's about becoming. With each ancient truth you uncover, a piece of your forgotten self returns. You begin to see language not as noise, but as sacred geometry in motion. Every sound, every symbol becomes a part of your awakening. And through study, meditation, and inner reflection, you begin to master the subtle art of linguistic alchemy with precision, with care, with heart. But this empowerment isn't confined to language alone. It extends to the rhythm of the cosmos, to the harmony of nature. The teachings of ancient mystics weren't just poetic, they were instructions. They taught alignment. And as you align your consciousness with the divine order of creation, your ego loosens its grip. You no longer chase meaning, you become it. You begin to feel your true nature as a sovereign being of light, connected to everything, bound by nothing. From this place, you no longer just survive the spells of others. You shine. You guide. You lead. You become a lighthouse. With your words and presence, you awaken others to their potential. You become a bridge between the seen and unseen, between silence and speech. And with every truth speak, you help usher in a new world, one shaped not by fear or manipulation, but by clarity, love, and wisdom. So remember this: knowledge is the key that unlocks the mysteries of existence. And when combined with intention, it becomes the force that reshapes the world. You are not just learning magic. You are remembering who you truly are.